Hey everyone, this is Mr. Franzen, and I'm here to tell you about an opportunity called Received Ministry. This is something that we introduced last year at Bishop Brossard High School, and as you can see behind me, I have a blanket here that I'm going to speak about in just a moment. But Received Ministry is a ministry whose focus is deepening a relationship between you and God, while having somebody who's considered your prayer warrior in your corner. So this idea was introduced by Father Jeff Von Lehman at St. Patrick's in Taylor Mill, and honestly, it requires very little from you. It's an opportunity for you to take a brief amount of time outside of your religion class. And so the way it works essentially is you email me that you're interested in joining, and I set up a time with you and one of these prayer warriors for you to spend about 15 minutes with them twice. So there's 2 meetings. And last year, the people that generally worked with us were Mrs. Donna Heim, who was a former teacher here, and Mrs. Kathleen Garmany, who's actually my mother-in-law. And so this is an opportunity for you to have them walk you through the process. Like I said, it's only about 10 or 15 minutes. And essentially what they do is they facilitate a conversation between you and God. Maybe you're going through something difficult. Maybe you're struggling with something going on in your life, or maybe you just feel like you need some extra prayers. This is an opportunity for you to go and have somebody pray on your behalf. It's not counseling. It's not really even a place for you to go and just vent about a bunch of stuff necessarily with the person. Now, whatever you have as far as your conversation between you and God is really between you and God. But the idea is that you have an identity in Christ, and all of us do, or at least we should strive to remember that. We are made in God's image and likeness, and that's what receives ministry. What's at the heart of it is that we're made in God's image and likeness. So the first time, there's a little exercise that the prayer warriors will facilitate to walk you through. Then over the next couple of weeks, when you don't see anybody, when you don't see your prayer warrior, you will then have that prayer warrior pray on your behalf. So it's nothing that you have to do. It's just the comfort of knowing that this person is now praying for you. Maybe they're going to Mass and offering your name up at Mass. Maybe they are going to adoration and praying specifically for you, or maybe you're just included in their nightly prayer routine. But it's really comforting knowing that somebody is there in your corner praying for you. So let me read a couple of testimonies from students. Now, these are anonymous. Some of the students didn't mind if I used them. Some of them did. So just to keep it consistent, I made them all anonymous. Okay? So here's one student. One student says, "Receive Ministry was an amazing opportunity and experience for me. It allowed me to deepen my relationship with Christ and open up about challenges in my life. It showed me that there are people there for me and on my journey of faith. Receive Ministry created a lasting impact on me and my understanding of faith." What's important about all of these testimonies is that they were just introduced to this idea at the end of last year. This is something that we didn't get started till the late part of third quarter. And so the fact that we're starting this now, it's an opportunity for you to get off on this second quarter particularly and into the later part of the first half of the year off on the right foot. Once again, it's not counseling. It's just a conversation between you and God while knowing that there's a prayer warrior there fighting for you. Another person says that my experience in Received has influenced me to develop my faith more. It's a wonderful way to feel God's love for me because it benefited every aspect of my life. It's a good approach if you want to know God better and become a better person. Another person says, in Receive Ministry, I felt comforted and soothed by knowing that even in my tough times, I always had someone praying for me. It was very nice to be able to talk to the ladies that put it on. They were reassuring and calming even in my most stressful days. I really enjoyed the program and would suggest it to anyone. Another person says, I was having a very hard time about that time of year when I joined. I've always had a struggle dealing with my faith and getting it kick-started. But Receive Ministries helped. I felt cared about outside of people that I already knew. I felt that the conversations we had were genuine and meaningful, and when I was prayed over, I actually felt love being poured into it. I felt so at ease while being prayed for, even though this was somebody I barely knew. Someone was able to look at me from the outside in, hearing my struggles and part of my past and pray with and for me privately with absolutely no judgment. It's an amazing feeling knowing you have someone who's asking God for help for you and wishing the best for you. I'm so glad I was able to join and learn what it was all about. Last year we had anywhere from freshmen to seniors. Every grade level was represented. So don't hesitate to give this a shot. I have one more testimony to read. Received was such an amazing experience to be able to be a part of last year. I felt so welcomed and loved when I walked into that room where we met. When I walked into the room, it was like all of my problems from that day just disappeared, and I had nothing on my mind other than God and myself. I really got to know myself and my values, and it just made it clear to me how much I need God in my life and how He plays such an important role. At the end of your meetings, you will be able to take home a blanket, and this blanket means so much to me. Every time I need a reminder that God is with me, I pull it out, and it makes me feel so much better. The blanket symbolizes God giving you a hug, and to me, that just already makes me feel so much better. Received meant so much to me, and I think that everyone who has the opportunity to be in it should, because it is just a powerful little moment. So I mentioned your first meeting. Your first meeting, you walk through this exercise with the person who you're assigned to, and they help facilitate a conversation between you and God. For a few weeks, you won't meet with them, but you'll have comfort knowing that somebody during those few weeks is praying specifically for you. Now, the second time you come, you'll receive a blanket, and this is the blanket behind me that you see. And this blanket is a reminder that through this time you've been wrapped in prayer and that your identity comes from God. It's also a pretty soft and comfortable blanket, so it's a nice little reason to join as well if you're into that. But I think the most important thing to remember is that your identity comes from God. Now, the last two people I want you to hear from are from the two what we called Grandma Ministries, people that helped us with this last year, and that is Mrs. Donna Heim and Mrs. Kathleen Garmany. They share a little bit about what Received is to them, and I want to let you know as well that there are other people we're hoping to be involved. It's not just those two. We're hoping that we have so many people signing up that we need more people. So let's hear from them.
And so Received is a reminder of where our identity was formed and continues to be. The second thing it does is to remember or to remind students of because they are sons and daughters of God, to remember that He's with them always.
Right.
And so it's such a simple
It is.
but profound ministry. It isn't counseling. It is.
No, it's not.
It is just the reminder that we have an opportunity every day to encounter God in our prayer life. What I have been amazed, because as you can tell from listening to me, or if you know me, I can talk. But in this, I'm quiet, and my role is to pray for that student while they go through that Received process. And, I have that list of students that I saw last year. We had 12 here in our inaugural year. And I still pray for them on a daily basis.
That's awesome.
Well, the first thing the Received is not counseling, number one, and it's not anything that I do personally. It's allowing the students to realize that God does love them and that there isn't anything they have to do to earn that love. And basically that Received means that their identity comes from God. So we take them through a two-step process, and that two-step process is between them and God. I just am like the prayer grandma, so to speak. That's what Father Jeff calls the ministry, the grandma ministry, and I see that it's really effective, helping kids, being struggling teenagers maybe, realizing that they don't have to compete or be somebody that they're not. So this opens the door, opens their eyes, and allows them to realize that they are truly loved by God and they're enough.
So,
I think another thing that's really important for the kids is they receive a blanket. And that blanket is something that is prayed on. And as their prayer grandma on the second part of that meeting between them and God, they are wrapped in that blanket and they get to take it home. And I think that's a profound thing for kids in their lifetime, because their story is going to change throughout their life, and they're going to come to places where they need to know God's love, and that hopefully the received blanket will remind them of that.
The last thing I want to mention is that if you've done this before, you can absolutely do it again. It's possible that the facilitators or the prayer warriors will walk through it a little bit differently with you the second time, but it's also possible to go through the same exercise if you're going through another difficult time. The only difference might be if you still have your blanket, you might not get a second one. But the important thing is that this is an opportunity open for all of our students, whether you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior. So if you're interested, please email me. My email is afranzen@bishopbrossart.org. I look forward to hearing from you. Just email me and let me know you're interested, and I'll take care of things from there. Thank you, and God bless.